champions against the Cincinnati Bengals. We are live at Riverfront Stadium, where the temperature in Cincinnati is 86 degrees, humidity 72%, the wind southwest at 5 miles an hour. Hazy, hot, and humid is the forecast. In fact, down on the field, it is 110 degrees. So we're going to find out who is in shape today. Good afternoon. I'm Pat Summerall. You know, every year around the NFL, there seems to be a catchphrase that catches on. Winning ugly seems to be that phrase this year. They say it applies to the Rams. They say now it applies to the Bears, although they are 3-0, unbeaten. Today they have their injured quarterback, Jim McMahon, back. He'd been out, as you know, with a first-degree shoulder separation. We talked with him last night. He said he'll play the rest of the year in pain, but he's learned to live with it. With me, of course, is John Madden, as usual, and John, having McMahon back may solve some of that winning ugly syndrome.
I think it's going to eventually solve a big part of it, because as Mike Ditka was saying last night, he said when we were starting Mike Tomczak, we had a young quarterback, and we couldn't do a lot of things. He said now with McMahon back, he said we want to get to a wide-open offense. We want to get the ball more to Willie Gault. We want to get the ball more to our tight end, the type of things that Jim McMahon can do. Well, how about the defense? You know, Sam Weiss, the Cincinnati Bengal coach, has an interesting philosophy. He says he thinks he knows how to beat that defense. And it has nothing to do with Buddy Ryan. It has nothing to do with the 46. It has nothing to do with how they move around. He doesn't really feel that they're in great shape. And he thinks what you do is you come out in the first half and you run them. And you make them go on sweep right, sweep left, quick huddle, no huddle, go deep, run them. And then in the second half, he thinks they're going to wear down, get tired. He thinks that's when they're going to get to them.
Well, we're going to see the Bears on offense first. Jim Breach is lined up to kick off for Cincinnati. Back deep, Neil Anderson, number 35, and Thomas Sanders, number 20, on the right side of your picture. And Breach is set to go. A wild, enthusiastic crowd, a bad kick. Anderson picks it up at about the 8-yard line. The Bears' number 1 draft choice, and the Bengals are down in a hurry. Down Anderson at about the 16. There is the quarterback, Jim McMahon. And here is the defense that he will face. Up front, Edwards, Crumry, and Ross Browner, the down 3. The linebackers, King, Zander, Parker, and Reggie Williams, the veteran. In the secondary, the veteran Louis Breeden and the rookie, Louis Phillips. Fulcher and Kemp are the safety men. The Bears take over at their own 16. First and 10. Gault split wide to the right, Keith Ortego to the left. The runners are Peyton and Seward. Emery Moorhead, the tight end, on the move. He's going to test it out early. Willie Gault. Louis Breeden on the coverage. He said he was going to go to work to Gault. He did. Picked up 21 yards in the first down.
Well, Mike Ditka told us that last night, and then Jim McMahon said it. He said, we have to get the ball to Willie Gault. He said, we're going to get it to him 6 or 7 times. So he's not going to wait here. He gets to work on Breeden. Again, that's a great way to work a speed guy. You don't always have to go straight up the field. You can also go across the field with speed.
First and 10 for the Super Bowl champions at their own 37. Pocket. Fires for Gault and has him again. At the Bengal 31. Louis Phillips. Emmanuel King is the man who chased McMahon out of the pocket.
Again, that's the same thing. Watch here, Pat. Willie Gault here. He starts up, then he comes all the way across. Breeden's chasing him. He could have hit him here, but McMahon scrambles and hits him out here. Watch him here. He starts all the way across the field. See him there, he keeps coming deep. Now McMahon scrambles, and he picks him up again, and finally hits him right in front of the 30-yard line.
There, first down. The Bengal 31. They start off with the 3 men in the backfield, and now Moorhead, the tight end, moves to the left. Down to about the 26, and a gain of 5. Leo Barker tripped him up. That'll make it 2nd and 5. Let's look at that Bear offense. McMahon, the quarterback, Payton and Suey, the runners, Galt and Ortego, the wide receivers. The veteran offensive line, Colbert, Bortz, Hilgenberg, Thayer, Keith Van Horn, and the tight end is Emery Moorhead. Ortego wide left, Galt wide right. Payton's first carry. Net not very much. Eddie Edwards was the first bingo there. A pickup of 2 for Walter Payton. That'll bring up a third down.
You know, it's an interesting thing the Bears are doing, Pat, and I think it's the way that when you're playing a fired-up team at home, the way the Bears are. They're playing the Bengals. The stadium is fired up. The team is fired up. You don't run right at that defense early because they're fired up to stop the run. You go back and you pass. You throw to Willie Galt. And I'll tell you, there's nothing that calms down a defense like completed passes.
And McMahon hit his first 2 to Galt for better than 60 yards. Mike Ditka. McMahon operates out of the sprint this time. Someone jumped offside, or else someone moved on the offense. McMahon says it's against Cincinnati, but he's not the official. There is a flag down.
See, that's a tough thing to do, a handoff from the spread formation. I think it is against Cincinnati. They jumped offside, so the Bears dodge a bullet here.
Was Eddie Edwards the culprit?
Offside. Number 27 defense. First down.
Tom Dewey is the referee.
That was the 5th defensive back, Barney Bussey, number 27. See what he does. He was a safety, and he just jumped up outside there and got in that neutral zone. You don't see that much, a defensive back offside.
Not very often. One of the officials forgot his handkerchief.
You can't do that. You can't leave one out there. They'll think it's the next play. Keep calling them all day.
Take away your most important weapon. First down for the Bears at the Bengal 19. No score yet. McMahon to throw. He does quickly. Almost intercepted, intended again for Galt. Louis Breeden cut in front of it.
Tell you one thing, you take a corner like Louis Breeden, he's a veteran player. He's a 9-year veteran. And you can get a few things on him. They got those 2 crossing patterns to Willie Galt on him, but down here you just can't beat him all day. You're not going to beat him like a drum. And if you keep going to that well too many times, he's going to come up with one.
Especially down here where he doesn't have to worry about that deep speed that Galt possesses so much.
Well, that wouldn't be a bad place. If they're going to use the speed down here, they have to use it on a crossing pattern and use all 50 yards of width.
Galt and Ortego both are split wide right. Ortego went in motion. McMahon gives to Payton on a draw play. Nothing doing. Emmanuel King was the first man in the striped helmet there. No gain.
Now the Bengals are coming in with their nickel package again. That gives them 6 defensive backs in there. Last time, of course, Bussey jumped offside, was going to blitz. I think that's probably what they're going to do. I think that's part of their plan, is with their nickel package is to blitz McMahon.
They put the rookie Jim Stowe over the center. Hilgenberg. And the lone setback is Baker. McMahon back to throw. Has time. Gets it to Ortego. He fumbles. Bengals pick it up. Bengals ball inside the 5. Lewis Phillips got it on the bounce. And the Bears come up empty.
The Bears did everything they had to. They had good pass protection. They had a good throw by McMahon to Ortego. He just drops the ball. Watch, he does a good job down there getting open, has the ball, and anytime you're going to tackle, they're going to strip from the back end. He threw his right hand in there and knocked the ball out of Ortego's hand.
Bengals out quickly, no huddle. Esiason knocks the ball up in the air. The Bears come down with it. Fensick does. Esiason threw on first down. Intended for Collinsworth, but the Bears have it 1st and 10 deep in Bengal territory.
I think that was Reggie Phillips. One of the things the Bengals were going to do, or think they could do, was work on Reggie Phillips. I'll tell you, that's a tough pattern, that quick out down here. See, they just take the boom, three-step dot, boom, hits that ball out there to Collinsworth. Phillips sees it, gets a good jump on it. He got there about the same time as the ball did, knocked it up in the air, and Gary Fensick was right there to get it. Good play by Reggie Phillips.
Holman and Brooks finally got Fensick down, but it's 1st and goal, Bears at the Bengal 3. And the refrigerator is in the backfield with Peyton.
That means they're probably going to run right behind the refrigerator.
Peyton down to about the goal line behind William Perry. Ron Simpkins made the initial hit for the Bengals.
You know, Mike Ditka was talking about this formation, and he said, we try and do other things, but the best thing is put refrigerator on one side, let him lead, give the ball to Walter right behind him. But sometimes you try and outsmart yourself. He wanted to get it in on that first time. You hate to have to call a second one when you're that close.
Well, the bridge is still in there.
Yeah, but he's on the left side, so that means they'll run to the left side.
Chicago. And the Bears lead at 6-0. McMahon right over the top.
That's one thing about McMahon. He doesn't worry about the horse being blind. He's just going to load the wagon out there. You know, you talk about a guy who comes, he has a shoulder injury, got new pads on, not doing this or that. But he'll still carry a quarterback sneak down in the goal line, just drive it right in there. Get good. You know, they say they don't talk, they don't get along, but he sure has confidence to call that play.
Butler will try the extra point with Steve Fuller holding. Butler had the hot night against Green Bay last week. And the Bears are up 7-0. They take advantage of the break. McMahon scores the touchdown to give the Bears a 7-0 lead. 9:38 left first quarter. We're at Riverfront Stadium in Cincinnati. Pat Summerall, John Madden. That's the story of the scoring drive. 2 plays, 2 yards. Fensick got the rebound interception. McMahon sneaked it in.
And I think the big play was cornerback Reggie Phillips, who caused that ball to bounce up in the air to Fensick.
Tim McGee is back deep and will field the kickoff about 2 yards deep in his own end zone. Got some room, too. But a flag is down. Dave Durson led the special team charge. A little bit of a afterthought contact. 28-yard return, but I'm sure it's going to be a penalty against Cincinnati. Over on the sideline, that's the Bengal offensive unit. And they're getting ready. When things are settled down, they'll come in with no huddle.
I think they're having their huddle right now on the sidelines. I think they're going to wait to see where the ball is, decide to call the play. Now they won't go into a huddle. They'll just line right up on the ball.
Number 30 of the receiving team, first down.
30 is Bill Johnson, backup fullback. So it'll be first down, Cincinnati. Again, as we said, no huddle. Collinsworth split wide to the left. Eddie Brown to the right. Dan Hampton is number 99, and he anticipated a little too early.
Encroachment, 99 defense, first down.
And encroached.
I think Boomer Esiason had something to do with that, the way he was calling cadence. You know, sometimes you're a little antsy, and a guy gives you that, you know, set, go, go. And that tends to jump you.
First and 5. The Bears in the Bear defense. Esiason, Collinsworth. That'll be a bingo first down outside the 30. Gain of 14, Reggie Phillips on the stop. Should instant replay be used in the NFL? Well, if you have an opinion and would care to call, those are the numbers. Yes, in current form. Yes, in revised form. No. And the Bengals again make it difficult for us to get that information to you where you can have a chance to write it down, because again they go with no huddle. They're lined up. Now he's calling the plays. They beat the clock by 1 second. James Brooks hit by Singletary, and by Wilber Marshall, and by Steve McMichael.
You know, one of the reasons it looks like they're disorganized is when they first line up, they don't have a play yet. See, as they're up there now, they don't have a play. So they all have to stand around there. Boomer Esiason has to call the formation, then he has to call the play, then he has to call the blocking, and he has to tell them what number it's on.
Collinsworth had to come in, and now he backs over where he wants to be split. He had to come in so he could hear everything. Down to 5 seconds. Down to 4. They just do get it off again, and it's Brooks. Brooks up the middle, picks up perhaps 4. Richard Dent on the stop. Here's Sam White, the Bengal coach, signaling the plays in to Boomer Esiason. New Orleans leads the Giants 7-0 first.
I think what he was signaling in there first is 4 wide receivers. So that's the first thing Boomer has to know. Hey, you got 4 wide receivers coming in. And then he gives them, so he knows the formation, then he gives them the play.
That time they went with the split huddle. That is, the front 5 come up first, and the other 5 stay back with the quarterback. Third down and 7 from the 37. Marshall. And again, the Bears get the rebound.
You know, one of the things that Sam Weiss was saying is that we have to give Boomer Esiason time. Not just time so he doesn't get sacked, but time to follow through. That time, Richard Dent was right in his face. And you watch him. He's going to go back here left. Now watch Dent coming from the left of the screen. Pushing on Munoz. See, right up there, he got that hand up. And it didn't look like his receiver was even turned around. I think Collinsworth had to throw, I think Esiason had to throw that one before Collinsworth was ready.
Room to follow through. That's so important.
Watch what Dent does. See, he gives him that push, and Esiason can't follow through. That, and I think he threw it before he wanted to. At least he threw it before Collinsworth was ready.
And the Bears take over at the Bengal 37, first and 10. A chance to add to their 7-0 lead already.
Upon review by the replay official, the play will stand.
Upon review by the replay official, the play will stand. I think a lot of people thought that ball hit the ground.
Well, as you look at it, the first thing it does, it's going to hit Collinsworth right between the 8 and the O. That's the bad news because it happens to be his back. Then it didn't hit the ground. You see the ball up in the air. Marshall catches it. Then it went down. Now, whether or not he had control of that or the ball hit the ground, I don't know.
Here's McMahon. Back to throw. Intended for Reitman and picked off by the Bengals' Leo Parker. And they turn it right back around. Crowd in Cincinnati is excited about Cincinnati's Bengals. Left to play in the first quarter with the Bears leading the Bengals 7-0. The Bengals have the ball after an interception, so they take over. This is a guy, left-handed Boomer Esiason, that everybody says is going to be a great one. What about that one? An awful lot to think about. The signals, the calling the plays, the snap count, the blocking assignments, everything. Collinsworth is wide right this time. Brown to the left. Coleman was the man in motion. Picked off by Otis Wilson. Wilson down the far sideline. 5 turnovers already in this game.
Both of these guys are having a problem. That's the 4th interception. He said 5 turnovers. There's been 1 fumble. Here he's just rolling to the left. He gets a little pressure right there. Then he comes off it. He has plenty of time. He throws it behind and over Eddie Brown's head. Otis Wilson was in a zone. He was just playing that short outside and whap right between the 2 5s there for Otis.
Marshall has an interception. Now Wilson an interception. And Fensick has an interception for the Bears. 5 turnovers. Cincinnati 3, Chicago 2. 7-0 the Bears lead. 1st and 10 at the Bengal 18. Suey at the line of scrimmage. The first man to hit him after a gain of 1.
You know, we talked earlier about how it's 110 degrees down on that field. And I know the Cincinnati Bengals wanted to wear out the Bear defense, but with all these turnovers, that's the thing that's helping both of these defenses. They haven't been out there that long.
2nd and 8 at the 16. Suey and Payton behind McMahon. Probably have to throw. Reitman is the tight end. He gives to Payton instead. Payton hammers down almost to the 10-yard line. Zander again was the first defender to hit him. Walter 2nd in the NFL. The Bears 2nd in the NFL in rushing.
You know, it's funny how there's always the argument over, you know, who's the best back in the league, who's the best ever. I've always said when you take running back and you're talking about passing, blocking, catching, whatever, it has to be this guy, Walter Payton, the best who's ever played the game.
Ditka said last night when he first took over the Bears, Payton was the best kickoff man they had. More to go in motion. It'll be Payton again. He skips to the inside, skips for enough for a first down. Emmanuel King tripped him up. It's going to be close. Bear player down.
It's Keith Van Horn. Here we see the motion. Ortego brings the motion out here. Tom Thayer, the right guard, pulls. He's going to lead along with Suey, but they both get behind Payton. You know, anytime you have a lead guy, and Matt Suey is one of the good ones, he has to be in front of the ball carrier. But he got delayed too much, and Payton had to leave him.
First down, Bears inside the Bengal 10. Looks like it's about 1st and goal at the 8.
I don't think this is an area that you put the refrigerator in. That's a little too far out for fridge.
First and goal at the 7, let's say. 7.5.
You know, the fridge looks like that jersey's tightening up on him a little more this year than it did last year.
It looks like the helmet's getting a little tighter.
That 7 is separated a little from the 2.
That's Payton in motion. First and goal. McMahon to Suey. To just outside the 3. Zander and Barker for the Bengals.
You know, the Bears are doing something new, Pat, on goal line that I've never seen them do before. The last time they scored a touchdown, they had Steve McMichael, their defensive tackle, in as a tight end. They're not going to put him in yet, but I expect if they don't make it here, they'll put him in the next play.
Second and goal at the 4. Still Payton and Suey behind McMahon. Payton had to turn around and couldn't get underway after catching the pass from McMahon. Reedon came up to stop him.
This time they put Suey in motion to the right to block out there and then come to the inside. Then they put Payton as the second back out there. He got it a little behind, and he couldn't make a move up the field. Now we see the fridge and McMichael. The Bears in this short yardage are getting a real defensive package in there.
They better
be in shape. Two defensive tackles playing offense.
Perry in the backfield, and now McMahon doesn't like what he sees and takes the Bears' first time out. We have 3:15 left in a very eventful first quarter, with the Bears leading Cincinnati 7-0. It is hot everywhere. The Bengals, their mascot, 2-yard line. There's the Bengal defense now huddling over on the sideline. That was a moment ago. 3rd and goal at the 2. Perry is out. Suey's back in. McMahon out to Payton. And Payton is going to score.
That was the situation here, 3rd and 2. And I bet Jim McMahon thought that looked like a long 2 and wanted to change the play. So he went over to the sideline, got the refrigerator out there, and he got Suey back in so he could fake here to Suey, you see, on the fake trap, then come out and throw to Payton out here on a one-man screen. You see the blocker out in front of him there, and then all Walter Payton had to do was walk in the end zone. That was Jim Covert who got out there in front of Payton.
Butler to try the extra point. With Steve Fuller holding. Bears leading 13-0. And Butler is good again. .308 left to play in the first quarter, and the Bears out in front by 14. Bears leading Cincinnati 14-0. 3:08 left to play first quarter. The scoring drive, 6 plays, 17 yards. McMahon finished it off with a 2-yard pass to Payton to make it 14-0. And the Bears have been able to take advantage of turnovers already. There's that story. Butler set to kick it off. Tim McGee back deep. Kick. McGee at the 1. Outside the 25 to the 27.
Let's watch that touchdown again. This is a good one because you got a lot of coaching. You get the fullback, fake to him in a trap, get the motion man coming in here and blocking inside. Then you get your tackle out here leading for Payton, who gets the ball out here. Now that's a lot of diagram, but boom, you fake, you come, you go, you throw. See, watch this. He comes in here. There goes the motion guy. Whap. He whaps in there. Fake to Suey. Throw out to Payton. Covert out in front. All for 2 yards. That's what you like to do as a coach. 2 yards, but it's a touchdown, 2 yards.
That's the end of the story that's most important. Brown is split wide left. Collinsworth right. Tyson gives to his big fullback, Kennebrew. Larry Kennebrew is 270 pounds. William Perry on the stop. Pat Summerall and John Madden. We're at Riverfront Stadium in Cincinnati, the home of the Bengals. And it's the first time ever in regular season the Bears have ever been here. These two teams have only played twice in their history. And the Bengals won them both. Walter Payton over on the sideline. The great Walter.
You know, when you see him, you always think that he's kind of a quiet guy, but he's probably the biggest practical joker in the Bears team.
Kennebrew.
You know what that looks like to me, Pat? A cramp. You know, when you have, you know, we talked about how hot it is down there, 110 degrees, and what happens, you tend to dehydrate, and when you lose those fluids, then I think we're going to see a lot of that type of thing coming out, where guys are coming out with cramps. It usually affects a guy like a Kennebrew, you know, he's a heavily muscled guy. Big guys don't like humidity.
They don't stay big very long. Bill Johnson has replaced Kennebrew. Brooks is back there with him. And Brooks gets the pick back. He is almost decapitated by Otis Wilson. A loss of 1.
Otis Wilson is a guy who will decapitate if you try and run to his side. See, now that's the old Bear defense. You see Wilbur Marshall's up on the tight end. Otis Wilson is on the outside and coming. Now, no one blocks him, And if you run a sweep at Otis Wilson and don't block him, you're going to have to check your running back.
Might have another one on the sideline. 3rd and 8. Bengals at their own 29. Refrigerator in the middle this time. Dyson gets it down the middle of Brooks, and he had him. And Brooks is being covered by Wilbur Marshall and just beginning to pull away.
How'd you like to be the left guard on that play? Bruce Kazurski. Watch him. He's number 64. He's blocking the Fridge, 72. Watch him. He comes this way. Now you start to push. That's a load pushing you. But when he gets there and you get 1 foot out and 1 foot back, you just go right on your back. Kazurski's saying, wow, man, you told me he was fake. You didn't tell me he was that strong or that short.
Lou Barnes back deep for the Bears. Jim Hayes to punt for the Bengals. Didn't get it all. 37. Barnes fields it. And is cut down at about the 47 by Bill Johnson. 35-yard punt by Hayes. The 11-yard return. The Bears will take over again in pretty good shape. There's Big Brew on the cart.
I would say if he goes to the cart, then it's more than a cramp, and you see the ice pack on it, so it looks like it's an ankle. I'll tell you that'll hurt because he's a big important part of their offense, that big fullback that you pound on the inside so that you can get your fast halfback Brooks to the outside.
That's what they did to Cleveland last week in the second half, particularly. Peyton is the lone setback. Bears 1st and 10, their own 47. Galt's the man in motion. Followed by Breeden. Going for Galt. Got him. And Galt is gone. McMahon is down, but the Bears have the touchdown, a 53-yarder from McMahon to Galt.
I'll tell you, anyone that says that the Bears don't miss Jim McMahon or don't need Jim McMahon or that Jim McMahon isn't important has no idea what they're talking about.
That is not winning ugly.
No, and, you know, of course, it's hard to win pretty when you don't have your guy. But here's the guy who can make things happen. I don't care. I mean, the guy, he is a little different, but I'll tell you, if he's not the best quarterback in the NFL, he sure is close to it.
Wearing those special pads. Kevin Butler to try for the extra point. Bengals can't get on track at all. Butler was Fuller holding. Will try to make it 21-0. Bengals jump offside. Flags it down. Butler's good. Comes McMahon out on the field.
To congratulate Butler. His best friend is Kevin Butler. Watch, he'll grab him before it's over. See, he does a little shaking, a little slapping. Now watch, he's looking for Butler. There you go there. That was it.
He was gloating last night because he said, I killed Butler in cards last night on a plane coming down here. Maybe I shouldn't say that.
He said he'll kick well. I tell you, this is the thing that you need in today's football. You need speed. Speed just kills any defense. Willie Gault started on the right, came all the way across, and now he just runs straight down the field.
I'll tell you what, that's a great throw from McMahon. He led him away from the defender, closer to the sideline. That would have made you proud.
It was a perfect throw. And that one wasn't against Lewis Breeden. The first two Gault caught were against Breeden. That one was against the rookie, Lewis Phillips. You know, sometimes you watch a guy on film and everyone says he's fast, but until he runs up against you and you're paired off with him, you don't realize how fast.
You can't believe how fast he gets there. And then it's too late. 21-0, and we're in the first quarter. 48 seconds left. Sam White over on the sideline has to be in a little shell-shock frame of mind right now. 21-0. Tim McGee and Stanford Jennings back deep. And Butler will kick it off. He's not playing like he's hurt. McMahon. Butler is high and 8 yards deep, and they decide to keep it in there. McGee stayed there.
Let's watch and see how Galt, who starts here, now he's going to come in motion, and this is how he gets on Billups. He gets over here and then straight up the field. McMahon throws it right over his outside shoulder. You see, he's in the slot. He starts there in motion. Now Billups is going over with him, running across with him. Then he just goes straight up. He leaves enough room outside. McMahon throws the ball perfectly. Billups made a mistake by looking inside. You never look inside. You always look towards the receiver in man coverage.
When you take that look, it pulls you away from the target.
And it widens the target.
James Brooks and a motion Esiason hits his tight end, Rodney Holman. A gain of 13 and a bingo first down. Wilbur Marshall made the stop.
Rodney Holman is the leading receiver on the Bengals team, and he's the guy that, you know, they try and get to on those possession-type passes, but they also go deep to him because he runs a 4.6, and that's wide receiver speed.
And he's 238.
Here's a little split huddle. I always hated this as a lineman. You know, like you get up here, what do? You know, you just got to watch those guys. I always like to get up and go play.
To play off. That's the end of the first quarter with the score. The Chicago Bears 21. The Cincinnati Bengals devastated. Nothing. John, that first quarter took 41 minutes to play.
Yeah, and I always say that the reason that causes long quarters, long halves, and long games is the number of passes. In that first quarter, there were 14 passes, you know, by both teams, and then we had 5 turnovers, so you're stopping the clock all the time.
First and 10, Cincinnati at their own 32. Hand off to Brooks. And there's no room for James Brooks. Hampton on the bottom of the pile.
Did you hear that in the over there in the pile? You could hear the guys say, "Not over here, not over here." That had to be Otis Wilson. So he's saying, "Not over here." That's what they do. You know, the guys run there, and they tell them when they don't make anything, "Not over here, not over here." See, that's part of the game too.
There's that play selection that John was talking about a minute ago. Second and 8. Collinsworth. Collinsworth with one hand moves into Bear territory after catching the ball.
That's the same type of thing that Willie Galt got. Now they're working on Reggie Phillips, as they said they were going to. They start Collinsworth in motion. Now there was a little pick there. He runs all the way across the field, hits it with his left hand, finally gets it under control. That was the same pattern that Willie Galt beat him on. There it is. That's what Esiason sees. That was a pretty good catch.
Two of the cover men, two of the Bear linebackers, I think, collided with each other. Here comes Kennebrew back out of the X-ray room and back to the sideline.
That's the good news. The bad news is it's on a golf cart.
Still, Brooks in motion. Esiason back to throw. Incomplete. Intended for Brooks, who fell down.
One thing about Esiason, he throws the ball hard. I mean, those things are coming out of there like they're shot out of a gun. The good thing about it is it doesn't stay in the air very long. The bad thing about it is it tends to bounce off you.
Esiason is 3 out of 8. 46 yards and 3 interceptions. Michael's got a little evidence of playing on the front of the jersey.
Yeah, it's just the start of the second quarter.
Little blood. Second down. There's a flag down back at the line of scrimmage, and there's another one down at about the Bear 30. Collinsworth was the intended receiver. He pulled up, and Boomer threw it way over his head.
As you say, it's a double penalty because there's also one at the line of scrimmage. I think the one at the line of scrimmage is going to be against the Bengals. I would expect the one deep. Well, looks like they're both against the Bengals.
Tom Dooley.
A offensive pass interference. Number 80. Illegal use of hands. Number 50. Second down.
They got the full package.
Well, they did. They got Dave Remington, the center, for holding in the line. Then they got Collinsworth. Watch him here, number 80, for pushing off. You see that right hand? Got in on Reggie Phillips. The right hand got him and just pushed him off. So they caught that one. Then in the line, they caught Dave Remington illegally using his hand. And there it is right there. Dan Hampton was playing nose tackle, Remington the center, and you saw that left hand up in the face mask.
So that brings up 2nd and 20. Esiason chased by Hampton, gets away from him, fires deep, headed for Martin. Yes, he has it. Mike Richardson was back there with Martin, but Esiason did a good job to get the ball to Martin. A gain of 51.
And there's no penalty. Usually on that type of thing, you see a penalty because the quarterback runs around so long. Watch now, this is good by the receivers. Once you see your quarterback scramble, you start to move. Half of them move back to him. One, Martin, went deep, and he catches the ball. He gets him turned around, and he got the big play.
A gain of 51.
Tell you, this is what takes more out of a defensive lineman than anything. Watch Dan Hampton, 99. Those guys are big. They don't run that much. He had to chase them all the way across the field and then dive at them.
First and goal from the 5. Esiason has Brooks, and it's a Cincinnati touchdown.
Something happened on this drive. Here he starts, pulls out to the left side. He's watching Brooks all the way, and he throws that dart in there. Now, Brooks has good hands. When you throw a ball that hard, that short, and catch it with your hand, those are good hands.
Reach for the extra point is good. 21-7.
You know, in this play, Pat, he watched Brooks all the way. Look, he turned down to his left side, watches him, and throws it like a dart.
21-7 in the Sac Stadium at Cincinnati. When the game began, it was 110 down on the field. It's a hot game, too. 6 plays. The Bengals went 80 yards. Kept the ball 2 minutes, 55 seconds. And Esiason hit Brooks for the touchdown. Reach. Neil Anderson fumbles it out of bounds, and it'll start from there.
Let's watch that touchdown play, and you'll see how Brooks gets so open. Here he is right here. But Rodney Holman comes in motion, and he picks the defense here, then blocks another guy, and Brooks just runs right out here. Now, really, picks are illegal. Officials didn't see this. Watch Holman, the guy in motion. He got kicked, and Brooks got in the end zone. That's one way to do it. That's always been a big play for the Bengals.
The Bears take over at their own 3-yard line after Neil Anderson fumbled the kickoff out of bounds. It is dropped to just 96 down on the field now.
96 will still grab you.
Yep. With the humidity, Calvin Thomas is in the game with Peyton. Now the Bears say we can't hear. And I can understand that.
Big break there for the Bengals. A good kicker. You know, Breach kicks those knuckleballers that are tough to handle.
And they do something unusual on their kickoff coverage, too.
Well, he kicks it from the left hash mark, then he kicks it to that side in that corner.
And it really takes off and bounces around on this artificial turf.
And you have a rookie like Neil Anderson trying to handle it, and it just didn't work. Now, if the Bengal defense can come up with a big play down here or just hold them, they're going to get the ball again in good field position.
Now the Bengal players asking the crowd to be quiet. The Bears still taking their time and still in the huddle. McMahon brings them out. Now they start it up again.
Once the fans know they can do that, they're going to do it all day.
Tom Dooley signaling and asking for quiet. McMahon gives to Payton. Calvin Thomas this time. Calvin gets out for about 4. And now they say he fell forward for about 7.
Well, that's a big play. You know, your first goal when you're inside the 5 is you want to get the ball outside the 5-yard line, because that gives your punter, in case you have to punt, that gives him the full 15 yards back.
Up a 2nd and 3. Ball just inside the Bear 10. Bears leading 21-7. Thomas and Payton. Thomas again. Just a little bit short of the first down. David Fulcher, a big, strong safety. Tim Drumrye, nose tackle for the Bengals, limps off. Mike Hammerstein takes his place, a rookie from Michigan.
Hey, this Bengal defense does a good job against the run. You know, they plug it up. The linebackers fill the holes. The end pinching down. Browner on that side. That looked like the ball was loose there for a while.
3rd and short. 3rd and 1. Thomas, and he'll have enough for the first down. Bobby Kemp.
Tell you, that's confidence in your backup running back. Mike Ditka said last night that he wanted to get Calvin Thomas in the game more, but coming off the goal line is tough. Tell you, he got a good block right there from Keith Van Horn. Van Horn really fired out on his guy, Eddie Edwards, took him to the ground. That gave him a little soft spot in there to pick up the first down. Guy you don't hear much about, number 78 there, Van Horn. I tell you, he's a pretty good player.
1st and 10 Bears, their own 15. McMahon takes to Payton, fires the ball out of bounds. He was chased by Eddie Edwards and Emmanuel King.
McMahon took a dumping on that play. Watch Eddie Edwards there. He's working against Van Horn. Van Horn has him pretty good. He gets him to the outside. McMahon had a scramble to that side, and Edwards comes off the block and put McMahon to the turf. Now, the thing that McMahon's worried about is not getting hit on that right shoulder, but getting hit and falling on his arm.
Falling like this.
See, he checked it out. That's the first thing you do when you have one of those things is see if you can still get it up and around.
You check it out. 2nd and 10. McMahon intended for Ortega. Incomplete. It'll be 3rd and 10. Lewis Breeden on the coverage.
McMahon standing there and thinking, what should I have done? What I did didn't work. What should I have done? Because he did everything wrong. It looked like that play started out poorly. Then he ran it and he just threw it in there on one hop. Threw a one-hopper in there.
Bengals go with their nickel package again. The extra defensive backs. Bears probably will show us 4 wide receivers.
And I bet the Bengals show us some blitz.
Payton is the lone deep back. Straight back. Under pressure. McMahon is down by Jim Stowe, the Nebraska rookie.
Tell you, they got the rush that they needed right here. This guy Scow, he just came right through and got the big play here. He's working there against Mark Fort. You see, he takes that outside shoulder on him, then he clubs him with his left hand, and there McMahon was right there trying to step up. You can't allow penetration up the middle. Of course, if you're Scow, you want to get penetration up the middle.
Mike Martin, back deep for Cincinnati. There was some doubt about whether he'd be able to play. He pulled a hamstring in practice on Thursday. Couldn't be too bad. High kick by Maury Buford. The 44. Into Bear territory. To about their 45. Dan Raines made the stop. 46-yard kick by Buford. A return of 10. 9:41 left to play in the first half. Bears up 21-7. Bears lead the Bengals 21-7. 9:41 left to play in the first half. The Bengals have had their sideline huddle and now come onto the field. Looks like they'll huddle again.
Hey, you wonder what they talked about in the first huddle. I think they talked about a whole series of plays. They were going to do this on first down. If complete, we do this. If not, we do this and all this.
Brooks and Johnson are the two running backs. Brooks is flanked out wide to the left. Size and back to throw. Here comes the blitz. Otis Wilson was shot out of a cannon somewhere.
I'll tell you, there's no better blitzing linebacker in football right now than Otis Wilson. I felt that at the end of last year. I think he's a good linebacker when he's doing all things, but when he blitzes, when he comes, now watch him, he's going to come from the left of the side of the screen, then he's going to come right up here in this hole. You see the hole? He sees the opening, he sees the Esiason, and for a big guy like he is, he has more quick speed, you know, where you can be going full speed on that second step.
A loss of 10. Wilson weighs 232, second and 20. Tim McGee. Right now for an NFL update, let's take you back to Brent Musburger in New York.
Well, Pat, we've got a couple of big upsets brewing. Watch this beautiful play in the Eagle game. Byers, the rookie's a left-handed passer. He sucks up the corner. They've got quick open for the touchdown, and it is 17-0 Eagles over the Rams. Now let's go back to Pat Summerall and John Madden.
Boy, that is a shocker.
I'll tell you, you get a rookie like Byers in the league, you don't even know he's left-handed. Everyone in the NFL will know it from now on. Left-handed run pass.
All I knew was he had a bad foot and he's big. They fake a reverse. Esiason gets away from Dent. And Dent is limping rather badly as he tried to give chase. We had heard that he had a pulled groin, and it really showed then.
Sure, Den will go out of the game now because he started from the outside. Watch, he's the end guy up there in the top and the right. They don't even block him. It's kind of a naked bootleg type thing. Esiason made a great move on Dent, then started to limp. Now Esiason makes another good move and then turns up, comes very close to the first down, although they're going to have to punt.
Mike Hartenstein would be the veteran that backs up Dent if he can't come back. Jeff Hayes, his second punt of the day. Lou Barnes back deep for the Bears. 73 is Hartenstein. Good kick by Hayes. And the Bengals down at about the 1-foot line, it would appear. Barney Bussey is back there. It's at about the 1-yard line. A punt of 41 yards by Hayes, and now they say he might have stepped on the end line. They bring it to the 20. And the officials, I believe, are going to make an announcement about that last call. Tom Dooley, the referee. The umpire is the official who carries the communication device up to the replay officials in the press box.
I don't know what they're saying here. Is it that Bussey's foot hits the line, but it looks like to me when the ball touches, his foot hasn't hit yet. Now, if you let it go, his right foot hits in front of the pylon. The ball never gets into the end zone. I would think that the ball should be spotted down there. Now, they're looking at some other replay or something because he's not in the end zone. The ball, you see, even if he touches there, the ball's not there yet. Now, when the ball does touch, his foot isn't down. When his foot comes down, it's already outside. So I would think the ball never went across, and the guy's foot wasn't there.
Well, the conversation is still going on, and Tom Dooley, I believe, will make an announcement now.
Further review by the replay official. The play will stand.
I don't know what he saw. He must have said that Bussey's foot hit there, because the ball definitely didn't go in the end zone. And I didn't see the foot go either.
That had to be what it is. First and 10 Bears from the 20. Payton hit in the backfield, breaks a couple of tackles. Got perhaps just barely back to the line of scrimmage. Should that instant replay be used in the NFL? That's the question. And if you have an opinion and would like to voice it, if you vote yes, the top number. If you vote yes in revised form, the middle number. If you vote outright no, the bottom number. It is, by the way, as you saw at the bottom of the picture, 50 cents per call. 2nd and 9. Payton got a yard. Just over 8 minutes left in the first half. For golf. Incomplete. Lewis Breeden was the defender.
You know, McMahon started off strongly, and then lately he looks like he's rushing things. He looks like he's a little rusty with his timing. Remember that last series? He short-hopped one in there. He looked like that one was thrown not on timing. And maybe his arm isn't bad. I'm sure that's bothering him a little, but maybe just a lack of practice. Not working with the guys may be bothering him.
Could be and should be a little bit rusty. They couldn't even go out in Chicago for practice on Friday. It's raining pretty much all week. McMahon out of the shotgun. They need 9. And again, McMahon is well short as he tried to hit Keith Ortego.
What happened there is, I think, here, see, Williams lines up. He comes out here. Now, they start to block out, and they let this guy go right up the middle. And that's the thing that really gets him. Emmanuel King is the second linebacker in, number 90. Williams is the outside guy. You see, Covert has to block 2. He turns out to block Williams, and no one gets Emmanuel King.
So Maury Buford, number 8, will punt again for the Bears. Mike Martin back deep for the Bengals. They should get it again in pretty good shape. Well, the Bears, of course, won last year's Super Bowl. And with a reward or a prize like that goes a lot of rewards. And the Bears have certainly reaped the benefits of that. Fensick on the cover of Gentleman's Quarterly. William Perry. And Willie Golf has taken up ballet. And, well, he is, as you said, different.
You know how that started. During the week, Mike Ditka told him they played like a bunch of high school kids. And McMahon said he tried to dress like one.
Brooks, the ball carrier, knocked out of bounds by Reggie Phillips. Larry Kennebrew over on the Bengals sideline has been taken in, has been x-rayed. That would look to me like he is through for the day.
At least for this half, until they reevaluate at halftime. And that's one of the things that's hurting this Bengal running game. I don't think they're averaging a yard a carry. And if you can't get the big Brew up the middle, then you sure can't get the fast Brooks to the outside.
2nd and 8 for the Bengals. Size it back to throw. Flag is down. Pass complete to Collinsworth, who shakes one tackler and wisely gets out of bounds as he was chased by Mike Singletary and Dave Durson and Reggie Phillips. But a flag is down. Cincinnati.
You know what happened? Eddie Brown was up on the line of scrimmage. The tight end, Rodney Holman, told him, get back. I can hear he said,
Illegal
get
motion,
back, Eddie.
36 offense, second down.
Stanford Jennings is number 36. Kenny Anderson, who had so many great years here with the Bengals, alongside Sam White. It'll be 2nd and 13, penalty situation. 21-7, the Bears lead with 7.5 minutes left to play first half. Hartenstein has replaced Dent. Intended again for Collinsworth, covered by Phillips, incomplete.
Hey, that's one thing that they definitely are going to do. Sam White said it yesterday. He says, we're going to work on Reggie Phillips. That's what they've been doing. Of course, had they not had the penalty, it would have worked on the play before that. There's Dan Hampton going to the inside, getting double teamed. Did you see the right tackle, Brian Blados, coming down on his knee? That's what those defensive linemen hate. They hate any time a guy comes down and cuts him.
3rd and 13. No telling how good Dan Hampton would be if he didn't have all those nagging injuries that seem to plague him all the time. He's plenty good like he is. Esiason. Incomplete. And no flag is down. McGee, the intended receiver, got tangled up with the defender. It was Reggie Phillips.
Hey, I think he did trip him. Watch the feet. I think they get tangled up. I don't think that's a penalty, though. I don't think you penalize someone for tripping. That was pretty good coverage. They were going to work that side. They worked it with Collinsworth, and then they put in Tim McGee, a rookie speedster, to work some speed there.
Jeff Hayes back to kick to Lou Barnes and the Bears. Barnes from his 27. Out of bounds at about the 34-yard line. 4 touchdowns that he had scored before this game tied him for the NFL lead. He had 3 of them against Cleveland last week. 1st and 10 at the 33. McMahon back to throw again. Gets it outside to Moorhead, complete. Moorhead out of bounds in front of the Bengal bench by Carl Sander, but a flag is down back at the line of scrimmage.
I'll tell you, and that could be for hitting McMahon after he threw the ball. Yeah, one thing, when you know a guy has an injury, that defense is going after him. And they don't always stop when he throws the ball. Oh, it's against the Bears. I still don't know if you're going to protect the quarterbacks, how the guy can complete a pass and him end up on the ground.
Illegal use of hands, 74 offense, first down.
There's Sam White, the Bengal coach, over on the sideline talking with his offensive unit. Sam is one of those guys who believes in trying to confuse the opponents as much as he possibly can. Got all kind of secret words and mystery formations and different things that he does. McMahon back again. Trying to set up a screen, and does, to Payton. And Payton is handled. Emmanuel King again was the first Bengal to get there.
Emmanuel King's a pretty good player. You know, he's just a second-year guy, and he's just starting this time for the first time. But, you know, he's good as a blitzer, and he's good as a linebacker. I mean, he has good range, good tackler. He's been in on a lot of plays so far in this first half. In fact, Mike Ditka was saying he thinks he's their best player. He was going to work the other side against Reggie Williams and Ross Browner away from Emmanuel King.
2nd and 19. Bear ball at their own 24. Takes a timeout. That's 2 that the Bears have used. They have 1 left.
Mike Ditka said, what was that all about? I think what he did, he looked out there at the defense and saw something he didn't like.
Next Saturday at 2:30 Eastern Time here on CBS.
Oh, boy. I'll tell you, 300-pound clubbers hate humidity. It's 100 degrees down there. I mean, you talk about sweat. Well, the fridge would be feeling if he had to be in there playing.
Right now, Blados, so we asked Sam White, how big is Blados now? And he said, oh, he's down to 300.
You know you're big when you're... He's getting it down there. He's about 300.
Yeah, he's been working hard. He's down to 3. 2nd and 19 now. McMahon forced out of the pocket. Gets it to the tight end, Emery Moorhead again, who can't hang on. Cincinnati has the ball. You heard him yelling, ball, ball.
And the guy who was really hustling on that play is Eddie Edwards. He's the defensive end. He starts a rush, and he's going to get back there. You know, that's where you call second effort. You can see Edwards. He's right there on the right-hand side of the screen. He's coming on a pass rush. He's going to come in here working on McMahon. Now watch, McMahon throws the ball. Eddie Edwards turns and runs downfield. Now he gets the tackle, the ball's fumbled, and here comes Edwards, who started on the line of scrimmage.
Carl Zander is number 91, who's holding Moorhead and trying to prevent him, and did prevent him from getting back to get the ball.
That's heads-up play by Zander, knowing that there was a fumble, and he couldn't do it, and he wasn't going to let Moorhead do it. They're probably deciding now whether that was a reception and a fumble or if he had control.
We have a holding foul against Cincinnati. During the fumble, it's Chicago's ball.
They call Zander.
What I thought was a heads-up play, they called holding and gave the ball back. I don't know about that. I really don't. He's in the process of tackling.
Sam Weiss wants an explanation, and so do the fans.
I think he wants to talk to the official. The good ones go over and talk to the coach and explain it to him.
Holding. Cincinnati. First down.
Now this is one, Pat, that instant replay is not involved in this one. This is just a holding call. They called Sanders right there. See, he's the guy that's going to come in here. He makes the tackle now. When he makes the tackle, Moorhead fumbled. Now he's down. Now Moorhead's trying to go for the ball, and he's holding him back. Now you can say, is he holding him back, which he was, or was he also going for the ball?
He could have been scrambling for the ball. That is not one of the categories that's included in the instant replay. Sam White is really upset. McMahon goes to work quickly to go. Lewis Breeden out there with him. Sam doesn't normally get that upset.
He's still talking to him.
You think that's talking?
Yeah, it doesn't do any good. They aren't going to change it, but you have to get it out of yourself. I mean, it's in there, it's pent up, and you just can't stand there. You have to get it out. And then it doesn't come out easily, so you keep trying to get it out. Get more of it out.
Volume is not a problem. McMahon to call again. Inside the Bengal 40. Breeden again, the defender. A gain of 14 and another Bear first down.
Well, I'll tell you, Jim McMahon says we haven't been using Galt enough. If our offense is really going to be opened up, we have to get it to him 6 or 7 times. He has a pretty good start going on now.
Caught 5 for 126 and the big long touchdown. 53 yards, that one. pressure. And Lewis Phillips, the rookie corner.
I thought that ball was tipped. Something happened. You know, with McMahon, he doesn't always throw spirals. He'll flutter one out there on you. But I'll tell you one thing, he stands in there with things going on around him. No, that was just his throw, wasn't it? That just fluttered out there like it was tipped.
But
look at that thing.
He didn't have that follow-through room either.
No, he didn't. But, you know, he's kind of proud of the fact that he doesn't throw spirals. He said when he hurt his hip, he said it bothered him because he couldn't rotate his hips and he started throwing spirals. He knew something was wrong.
The Bears have taken their third timeout. So there are none left in the first half. 2nd and 10 at the 40. And just under 5 minutes remaining. 2nd 10, their own 40. They lead 21-7. Cincinnati has all of their timeouts. The Bears have none of their timeouts. They've used them all. Calvin Thomas was the man in motion. Fake to Payton with McMahon. Intended for Moorhead, and he's got it. Covered by Dave Fulcher. It's another thing that Mike Ditka said they were going to do last night. Get the ball to the tight ends a little bit more.
And that was one of the ways that they wanted to do it. You know, take one of the backs, run him in motion, hoping that a safety would go with him. That time they put a back in motion. The safety didn't go with him, but Emery Moorhead still beat David Fulcher. I tell you, Fulcher is one of those guys, a big rookie, 6'3" and 230 pounds, playing a safety.
Ortego is wide to the left, and Galt is wide to the right. Hand off to Calvin Thomas. And a flag flies from behind the defensive line of scrimmage.
False start, 78 offense, first down.
Van Horn. Don't forget, coming up at the half, the NFL Today, of course, with Brent Herb and Will McDonough with scores and highlights. And William Andrews' story. What a remarkable comeback he has made. And we've been telling you in the first half, they are polling the fans' opinion of the instant replay. And some of them might have changed their mind after watching this first half today.
I hope not. I hope that it's something that stays. I think it's good. I think officiating needs it, and you have to give it time to work itself out.
You forget it's new. Everybody has problems. Here's Calvin Thomas. Hammers straight ahead.
You know, I wonder what we're seeing here, Pat. I wonder if Matt Suhey is injured, or I wonder if they just want to use Calvin Thomas more, or if Calvin Thomas is in the process of becoming a starter in there with Walter Payton.
Well, when we asked last night, there's Suhey. Mike said we got to get them both Suhey and Thomas. We got to use them more.
It seems like Thomas has been playing most of this game today, and he's been running those tough yards.
2nd and 9 at the 25. Thomas has 4 carries for 18 yards. It'll be Thomas again. Stood up and knocked backwards by Carl Sander after a gain of maybe 2. Here again, those phone numbers. And the situation you think should be observed. In current form, yes. In revised form, yes. Or just no.
I wonder who you get when you call them. I mean, you get someone that says, hey, good choice, or like a menu, or like a waiter, or thank you for your order. Or I tried it last night. They said we can't accept your call as dialed. They probably didn't put it in, though.
They probably recognized your voice.
We're mad in here.
3rd down. Bengals on a blitz. Flags are down far side of the field. Somebody was running loose and staring at Jim McMahon. Somebody came free up the middle.
I think a couple of them were running loose.
Delay of game. Offense. 3rd down.
I think it was Bussey that broke free up the middle.
When McMahon's walking over to the sideline, there was something he didn't like about that play. Maybe it was a bad play against a blitz, or maybe they got it into him too late.
It's 3rd and 13 in any case at the Bengal 29, closer to the 28, actually.
You know, that 5-yard penalty, if they don't get a first down or a touchdown here, that took 5 yards off their field goal, or made it 5 yards more, I mean.
And both coaches get the 2-minute notification. The Bears continue to lead 21 with 2 minutes to go in the first half. 2 of the Bears headed already for the locker room. That, of course, is Richard Dent. He is noticeably limping. Suey is waiting at the entrance to the tunnel, and he wasn't walking without a limp. They say he has a bruised knee.
Well, that answers that question.
Yeah. Flag is down, and so is McMahon. Bengals might have jumped that.
I think that was Barney Bussey again, wasn't it?
So,
Number
yeah.
27. Looks like he was up there in a safety blitz, and that'll be his second offside.
Third down.
So they got that 5 yards back. That'll make things a little bit easier for Butler if they do have to try a field goal.
You know what those guys do? They get up in here. You see them up in here. They get anxious. They want to beat these guards blocks so they get into the zone. Watch him. He's up here. Then he can't hold it. You see, so he comes in there before Hilgenberg snaps the ball. That's one way for the center, or for the safety to beat the center. Go before he snaps it.
3rd and 8. They were blitzing again. The pass was intended for Thomas Sanders, number 20, and the Bears will have to go for the field goal.
But the Bears lost 5 yards on a penalty. Then they gained the 5 yards back for Butler's field goal attempt. I think here on this time they do pick up Bussey. You see, he's going to come up there and say, well, he didn't get early enough. Hilgenberg picks him off. They have the thing sealed off pretty well, and McMahon just throws behind Sanders.
41 yards.
That was pretty good pass protection. I think Dick was telling him, hey, we had all that picked up for you.
Butler's got plenty of distance, and he is right down the middle. That one would have been good from 50. That makes it 24-7. Let's bring you up to date on what's going on around the rest of the league. As Brent Musburger said before, a couple of surprises. Well, there we go. New Orleans, surprisingly. Stanford Jennings will down it in the end zone. And the Bengals will come out to the 20 and operate from there with all of their timeouts remaining.
Did you ever notice, Pat, about kickers that after they kick a field goal, they always pump that ball deeper on the next kickoff? Was there something you guys had in the club or something that does that to you? I mean, you have sayings or anything?
I forgot.
Butler knows it, but those guys, I mean, I think when you kick a field goal and everyone's congratulating you, I think you get pumped up. Then I think that same pumped up brings you out on the next kickoff.
I think that's probably right. Fumble on the exchange between Remington and Esiason, and all they can do is fall on it. It'll bring up the second down.
Tell you, I bet Esiason is thinking all these guys say the Bears aren't as good. They're winning ugly. They're not playing as hard. But he's saying right now, who you kidding?
Singletary.
I think the Bengals, they don't have to go to these quick huddles. They can use their timeouts. Sure. They have 3 timeouts.
A minute left in the first half. Esiason goes back again. Here's Eddie Brown. They've got to take one, and Collinsworth does signal for the timeout with 52 seconds left to play in the first down. Bengals at their own 36. Johnson takes takes a hit from Singletary. You'll remember that one.
I'll tell you, as a group, I think when you take a Mike Singletary and a Wilbur Marshall and Otis Wilson, that's the best group of linebackers in the NFL. Maybe in the NFL for a long time.
They're all quick. Inside Johnson, and he gets out of bounds. After a gain of only 3 or 4, Sean Gale was the Bear who made the contact.
Johnson was trying to get out of bounds. Sean Gale was trying to get over there not to let him get out of bounds. They just got his foot out of Gale's grasp. I'll tell you one thing about these, these Bear guys. I mean, the linebackers, they're all hitters.
Oh,
you got a Gary Fensick back there and a Dave Dewerson, and then Todd Bell is on the team. Sure. Of course, he has a full muscle now, but he's one of the big hitters in the game.
Good coverage by the Bears' Reggie Phillips. Intended for Collinsworth.
The Bengals do have a play on 4th down, Pat, and it's coming up now. 4th down is coming up now, where Esiason punts the ball. They aren't going to do it. We see that they're putting Jeff Hayes in, but they do have that where they make you look like they're going for 4th down, and then Esiason punts it.
Coming up at the half, the NFL Today with Brent, Irv, and Will, and scores and highlights. Jeff Hayes back to punt.
Bears don't have enough guys in there. Only got 10 guys.
Hayes is a pretty good athlete. Gets it on the run and knocks it out of bounds. Flag is down upfield. 26-yard punt.
You know what happened on that play? The Bears left their defense in there, thinking they may go for it. I don't think the refrigerator knew about that defense punt return. He ran off. The Bears only had 10 men on the field, but the penalty's going to go against the Bengals. I would think they'd just turn it down.
I would think so. They don't have any timeouts left, so they're not going to do much. Only 5 seconds remaining, and Fensick signals they do want to turn it down.
Receivers, members of the kicking team, illegally downfield. The penalty is declined. First down.
It's pretty hard not to go downfield when the punter starts to run out of there. You don't know if he's going to run or not.
That's usually the thing that you see when a guy breaks the timing, because those linemen are up there. They're counting like 1001, 1002, 1003, and then they go. And they count and they go. They don't know what's happening behind them.
24-7 in a long first half.
A lot of passing, penalties, turnovers. It causes long halves.
Bears took advantage of turnovers early. Then they got a bomb from McMahon to call. 5 seconds remain. Hand off to Payton. Payton around the corner with blockers. Payton with that high step runs out the time. So that's the end of the half.
Well, the other thing that's very impressive to me is we can say that these are Cincinnati's turnovers or Esiason's interceptions, but this Bear defense is playing the way we saw it last year. And people say, what's wrong with the Bears? From what I've seen, nothing's wrong with the Bears. They're about what they were last year.
They just look just about as intimidating. I don't know if Richard Dent will come back. We don't know about Suey yet. We'll try to find out as soon as we can. But I didn't think that was an ugly first half at all by the Bears.
Well, and a big part of it, of course, is having Jim McMahon back at quarterback.
That would... Back at Riverfront. The walk back from the locker room, and who belongs to those feet? Who else?
As you look up from the feet, the Bridges' thighs are starting to grow together on him a little. You see that? I mean, there's not much space in there until you get down to the knee area. I used to have a player, Art Shell, who I never weighed, and the only thing I'd look at him walk from behind, and when the thighs started to grow together, when you didn't see a little gap in there where you could see some daylight, I'd say, Art, you gotta lose a little weight.
Cincinnati will receive the second half kickoff, trailing 24-7. Kevin Butler will kick off for the Bears, and he's been popping them in the end zone all day long. Tim McGee and Stanford Jennings back deep for Cincinnati. Butler will get the second half underway. Now he hits a line drive. McGee. Good tackle by Jim Morrissey. Number 51 cuts him down. 23-yard return.
This is what it looks like for a special teams guy. You just come out of the locker room. You have to run down. Guys are going to hit you, hold you. You got to keep your feet. Always stay up. They grab you to try and put you down. Stay up, get by the blockers, then make the tackle.
Good job by Morrissey.
You know, those guys, they don't get much attention. You never talk, but if there's ever a big play against the special team, I'll guarantee you they talk about it.
They get attention then. First down, Cincinnati at their own 23. Johnson is still the fullback. That's Brooks in motion. Hollingsworth. Bingo first down to their own 38. A gain of 13. Gary Finsick stopped number 80.
I bet what Sam Weitz did is try and calm his team down a little. You know, get their nervousness out of the way. I think they came out the first half, they were a little too excited. I think they said, you know, we just have to take our game plan and just go about it the way we intended to. We don't have to get all fired up, jump off sides, have balls hitting off our heads and stuff like that. Just get under control.
Well, they came out throwing. Johnson the lone setback. For Brooks and over his head. Covered by Wilbur Marshall.
With Brooks had Marshall, that makes a linebacker run. Look, Marshall gives a little smile. We had to run a long way on that one because Brooks started in the slot. He wasn't in the backfield. He's normally a halfback. He was in a slot that time like a wide receiver. Marshall was lined up on him like a defensive back.
A lot of people who say he could play defensive back.
Well, he's kind of a combination. You know, when he covers you, he's like a defensive back. When he blitzes, he's like a linebacker. And when he hits you, it's like a lineman.
Pretty good parlay there.
Yeah, he got a lot of good parts. Very good parts.
Coleman was the man in motion. Esiason will have it picked off. That's Durison. Durison's got some blocking in front of him. And a flag penalty marker goes down as Durison gets to the Bengal 42-yard line. 4 interceptions now for Esiason.
When Esiason has his problems, he throws high. And I think it's, you know, he doesn't get the right projection on the ball. The one before he threw high to Brooks, that one he threw high, looking like he was just trying to throw it away.
Disregard the flag. There is no foul.
I like that. Disregard the flag. There is no foul. When you worry about it, when they say disregard the flag, there was no flag. But you see here, he's feeling the pressure right there is Singletary coming. You see him, so he can't step and follow through. And he kind of goes, then his receiver falls down, and there's Durison right there. But that ball was a little behind and a little high anyway.
And Ken Anderson begins to loosen up behind the Bengal bench. Along with Doug Gaynor, the Bengals' third quarterback, number 11. Anderson, fumble, and the Bears get it back, I believe. Dick Van Horn is the man who covered it, yes.
Well, knowing Mike Ditka, when you put in a rookie back, and the first time he carries, he fumbles, he comes out. I would bet you Anderson goes off the field.
He's gone.
Mike Ditka is the time that gives you about one of those. Those things are, you know, things you know you got a good team, and maybe other teams can't beat you. The only way they can if you beat yourself.
That was only his second rushing attempt of the season. It'll make it second down, 14. Calvin Thomas has replaced Anderson. McMahon to throw to Moorhead, and he has him at the 25. Ray Horton took him out of bounds, and McMahon is slow getting to his feet. A gain of 21.
I'll tell you, I wouldn't be surprised if he got that shoulder pad, the one he was talking about last night, not the hit on it, but the hit going down. You know, you see him here, he comes reverse, he finds Moorhead there, he steps up and throws. Now, the ball's gone. I don't know. You see how he hit there on his right arm and his shoulder? That's the one that he's worried about. Now, they have to protect quarterbacks in this league. I don't care what they say. I'm talking about any quarterback. You can't hit them after they throw it. And they let that go on. They let it go on. And you got guys down all over the league.
McMahon stayed long enough to complete that pass for a first down to Moorhead. There at the Bengal 25. Payton swings in motion. They give to Thomas. Straight ahead, almost to the 20. Leo Parker made the stop, pick up a 4.
These offensive linemen are doing a good job over there, you know, of handling this Bengal defense now. I think early they were a little fired up. Now I think that offensive line has them pretty well under control.
Second and a little bit over 5.
Man said he had a talk with the guys who called them the boys. He said, hey, boys, we got to get the job done tomorrow.
Well, you're second in the NFL in rushing. You can't be doing too bad a job. Touchdown. From 20 yards out from McMahon. There might have been a pick on that play as well.
Well, Keith Ortego was out there, and it looked like he was throwing the ball to Ortego, and then he comes, watch him, here's Ortego there. He thinks he's going to catch the ball, and then he picked off a Cincinnati defender after Moorhead got it. I think they fell into that play.
I think they did too. That was not illegal.
No, but you would like to, as a coach, you'd like to take credit for it. But I think that happened. One guy thought he got it, the other guy got it, the guy that thought he had it blocked.
Butler's extra point is good, and it's 31-7. The Bears over the Bengals. If this was their toughest test so far, they've passed it. Coming up at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time in CBS Sports coverage of America's Polo Championship. Best of Argentina, who are considered to be the best team in the world, against the best of North America. Championship Polo coming up later today, right here on CBS. 31-7, the Bears lead it with 11:20 left to play, third quarter. McMahon, by the way, is 13 out of 21 for 211 yards and 3 touchdowns. And he scored the other one on the quarterback sneak. Butler chases him deep. Stay in there. Tim McGee obeys.
Watch that touchdown to Moorhead. Here's Moorhead right here. He's going to run a short out. Here's Ortego. He thinks he's getting the ball. He's running in here. As he runs by, he thought it was behind him. Then he picks off the next defender, and that lets Moorhead go into the end zone. Watch him here. We see Ortego outside. He's working out. He comes in. He thinks he's getting it there. And then Moorhead comes right in front of him. Ortego runs a legal pick and gets a good block. I'll tell you, the thing that made it all possible is right here. Here the Bengals are bringing 7. They got the blitz. They pick it up the middle. Good block by the back. And McMahon had plenty of time on that one. No one near him.
Esiason is still the quarterback. And he retreats to throw again. Hit by Hampton. And McMichael. And down he goes. Second sack. Looking on with Sam White and signaling plays into Esiason. Cincinnati turnovers, interception and a touchdown. 3 touchdowns came after interceptions.
That's the thing we talk about, you know, about how turnovers will kill you. If you can give a turnover and then stop the other team, that's okay. When you give it and then they score a touchdown, that's 21 points of turnover.
Right. Back to throw again and fires to before Singletary takes it down. A gain of 20. New Orleans still leads the Giants in the third quarter, 17-13. Washington over Seattle. Both those clubs unbeaten going in. Sad days for Forrest Gregg and Don Shula.
Buddy Ryan, you know, they were ready to bury old Buddy up there, but I didn't know that he was supposed to win. I mean, he starts off and he plays the Redskins, who are one of the best teams in the NFC. Then he has to play the Bears, who are world champion. Then Denver, who may be the best team in the AFC.
Headed for Eddie Brown, and far overthrown. Duerson and Fensick were back there with Brown. But that was over everybody.
Well, that was one of those that they knew they were going to go for that someplace. But when you're down as many points as they are, when it's 31-7, then the Bears are just playing soft back there in their secondary. We have to try and get Eddie Brown deep on something like that is when Fensick's trying to come up, when he's going to go for the play fake.
Brown comes out, and McGee replaces him. Let's see if they try to go deep to him now, if they have time. McGee down, but the Bengals get a first down. For an NFL update, let's go to Brent Musburger in New York.
Pat, Tommy Kramer is having himself a whale of an afternoon. This is his 6th touchdown pass for the Minnesota Vikings, and that one was to Mike Mularkey from 7 yards. The last man to throw 7 was Joe Kapp, and that was back in 1969 for the Vikings. Let's go back to Pat and John.
Brent, there was a penalty on that last play, and Otis Wilson.
Holding. 58 defense. Penalty is declined. First down.
See what happened to Wilson. He just limped out.
Well, the penalty was against Wilbur Marshall for holding. The injury, we see Otis Wilson is coming on a blitz, and he was coming to the inside, and it looked like he got his right foot caught in the carpet. You see, that is one of those things where your foot gets caught, and the only thing that gives is one of your joints, either your knee or ankle joint.
Al Harris, by the way, has taken Otis Wilson's place. You might recall he held out the entire season last year. Reverse fake by Brooks. And Brooks gets into Bear country. Those Vikings pouring on the points. Kramer approaching Joe Kapp's record. Next Sunday on CBS. It begins at 12:30 with the NFL Today, and that's our featured first game, Minnesota against these same Chicago Bears in Chicago.
You know, Tommy Kramer is one of those quarterbacks that's capable of throwing 5 touchdown passes. Although this guy here, Boomer Esiason, is too.
Duerson showing blitz, and they get it to that spot. Stanford Jennings out of bounds by Wilbur Marshall.
That's what coaches are talking about when they talk about a hot receiver. We see Stanford Jennings. He just lets the blitzer go. Then they feel there's no one to cover him. So he let Duerson go, who he probably should have blocked. But then Esiason sees it and says, if he didn't block him, then there has to be someone open. Now, Duerson is going to be number 22. He's outside. He's outside. And then he came, so he just threw the ball out to him.
Straight ahead. Ball is at the line of scrimmage inside the 10 now. It'll be second down coming up.
So in that last play, that one to Stanford Jennings, I never really liked that. You know, that hot receiver type of thing that if they come, then, you know, a guy will be open, because that means if you don't get the ball off, the only guy to take on that blitzer is the quarterback himself.
The Bears had 2 guys coming from that side that time, Duerson and Otis Wilson, who's back in the game. Second down, 5. Ball at the 7. Brown goes in motion. Collinsworth, the intended receiver. Reggie Phillips did a good job covering.
I think after this game, the Bengals are going to figure that Reggie Phillips is a better player coming out of the game than they thought going in. I mean, he covers Collinsworth. That's perfect defense down there, where you hit the guy, you know, to hold him up a little, then he starts going in, you ride right in, and you stay underneath him a little so you can knock the ball down and get the interception. This guy's playing pretty well.
As all day.
You know, when they lost Leslie Frazier, who was injured in the Super Bowl, he's really been out all year, they thought that was going to be one of their weaknesses. But I think he's getting more confident as the season goes on.
Apparently. Almost picked off in the end zone by Mike Richardson. That'll bring up a 4th down situation.
You know, that's another time that a Cincinnati receiver slipped. I think that because of this weather down there, this for one reason is a slippery field. You see Eddie Brown, he was just trying to make a cut to the out, and boom, he did the split. And we had one earlier. Remember the reception when the receiver fell down?
Well, they tell us at this end of the field, which is in the right field sector in baseball, is always more slippery than the other part. It doesn't get much sun. 4th and 5. Esiason can't find anybody. Falls down. And Al Harris is on top of him. Day for the Boomer.
That's the 3rd sack of Boomer today, and he's had 4 interceptions. We watch here, he had plenty of time. Good pass protection. So that'd be that just no one open. He couldn't find anyone. Then he went to scramble and fell down, and there was Al Harris.
31-7. The Bears lead at their own 15. Side, got 8 yards before Carl Zander brought him down. Bears will probably keep it on the ground as much as they can now.
Well, and this is where their offensive line goes to work. You know, they were talking about wearing down and this humidity and so on, but these guys are still doing a good job in there. You know, getting some movement on that Bengal defensive line and giving Thomas room in there to run.
Job by Thayer and by Van Horn. They need 2 for a first down. They give it to Payton to get it. And he doesn't, I don't believe. Bengals trying to knock the ball loose, obviously. Not successful.
You know, one thing you take a quarterback like Jim McMahon and, you know, he throws 3 touchdown passes and he scores on a quarterback sneak. But other things help an offense. Sometimes just having the guy there and the way he handles the huddle, the way he calls the play, the way he does the cadence. You know, sometimes these things give an offense a big lift.
That's hard to believe, but I know it's true. The cadence is a factor.
Oh, some of the, you know, great. I mean, that was one of Kenny Stabler's greatest things was handling that huddle, being the boss, the field general. Billy Kilmer, 3rd and 1.
To come back for McMahon's pass. Fulcher on the coverage, and the Bears will have to punt.
Well, Fulcher had the coverage. McMahon said I should have put a little something on it because Fulcher had his back turned. The ball hit him right in the head. You know, that's one way to cover, I guess. You can either, you know, cover the guy or just run with him. Here's Payton coming out. Number 33 is Fulcher. Watch him. He doesn't even see the ball. He looks back. Well, it didn't hit him in the head until it bounced. Didn't reach it.
Laurie Buford into punt. Martin back deep for the Bengals.
I think McMahon could sometimes throw it as well as the best and sometimes throw it about as poorly as the worst. He's everywhere in between.
He said last night, I threw the ball well in practice, but I can still throw the wobbler.
And when he throws too well, he worries about it.
Buford gets off a good punt. is down. He did signal for the Bearcats. He says he did. He put his hand up. There's no doubt about it.
Of course, it's right there. There's where he signaled. He started to run. Then he signaled. Then he had to make an adjustment. Then he forgot that he'd signaled. Then he started to run with it. And that's a penalty, running with the ball after you give a fair signal catch.
Delay. Receiving team. First down.
He still doesn't believe he signaled. But he did. Next Sunday on CBS, that's the featured first game. Of course, the NFL today starts at 12:30. Here's Esiason back to throw. Swings it outside to Johnson. Johnson gets just short of the 30. Dave Durson up to make the stop along with Otis Wilson. A gain of 5.
Yeah, I think these guys are holding up pretty well under that heat down there. You know, before the game was 110 degrees down in the field. And you can see what they do. They go to the sideline. They always get the ice, the cold towels, drink plenty of fluid. And it looks like to me that both sidelines are doing a good job of keeping the players relatively fresh.
Steve Fuller, the Bears' backup quarterback, was just loosening up. 2nd and 5 for Cincinnati at their own 28. Almost picked off again. Intended for Rodney Holman. Gary Fensick broke it up.
Over there in the sideline now, they're putting an ice pack or an ice bag on Jim McMahon's shoulder. Now, that could be two things. One, we did see him hurt it again when he fell on that right arm. Or two, it could just be like they do with baseball pitchers. You know, after a guy pitches and he's not going to play anymore, they get ice right on his arm or his shoulder. Now, I think it's smart if that's what it is. You know, you got a good lead. The game's under control, 31-7. You don't need him anymore, and get him out of the game.
I don't think he'll be back. Esiason back to throw again. Chased by McMichael. Gets away from him. Trying to go deep to Martin. And again, it's incomplete. Mike Richardson was the main defender. He got an assist from Fensick.
I'll tell you, this Bear defense has gotten these Bengals down to just throwing jump balls. I mean, I think that they've really stopped them on everything. I think they have them totally confused and frustrated right now.
It sure looks like it. And the crowd's getting a little restless now. There's McMahon. The ice pack on his shoulder. Jeff Hayes in the punt to Lou Barnes. Forced out of bounds at about midfield. Joe Kelly knocked him out of bounds. Straight ahead, Peyton. Into Bengal territory, about their 48. Mike Hammerstein made the stop. Philadelphia still overpowering Los Angeles. Houston over Pittsburgh by 3 now. Kenny Anderson, who was so good for so many years, now is the backup and almost an assistant coach. Thomas again in motion. And the pitch is back to Walter. Back inside. David Fulcher brought him down. There's McMahon again.
Now, what they're saying, Pat, is this is strictly precautionary, that it wasn't an injury or a re-injury. I think that's a smart thing to do. You know, he hasn't played. In fact, he hasn't played much all year, including the preseason or during the season. You get him in and get him out of there, because if they're going to repeat, and I think they have a good chance to repeat, this guy has to be underneath the center.
3rd and 2 with the clock still running. Thomas will not get the first down. He stopped right at the line of scrimmage. The Bears will have to punt. Reggie Williams led the defenders.
fact, I'm a little surprised that Walter Payton is still in there. I think that he's another guy that you have to get a little rest. I mean, it's going to be a long season. Here's Payton now. And, you know, you see him come in there and throw that block, although he missed on Reggie Williams. Out of a ball, it takes more out of a ball carrier blocking than it does running.
He says he enjoys it more than running.
Oh, he loves the block. He loves that big block.
Mike Martin. Back deep for Cincinnati. It looks like we will get Ken Anderson when the Bengals get the ball back. Let it bounce. And it goes into the end zone. Buford's punt is 43 yards. The crowd comes to life as Anderson goes in the game. Riverfront Stadium in Cincinnati. Pat Summerall with John Madden. And the Bears have been in command from the very beginning. Took advantage of turnovers early, and they've just dominated since then. Just over 3.5 minutes left in the third quarter, and the Bears leading it 31-7. Bengals at their own 20 with Ken Anderson, the quarterback. Handoff is to Johnson. Johnson gets 3 or 4 before he is knocked in the other direction by the Bear defense led by Dan Hampton and William Perry.
I tell you, that Bear defense has really done a job. You know, when you can stop a team running, and the Bengals haven't been able to run all day. Their running backs have run for 19 yards. Now, then you can do everything else. And if you can't run the ball, it's very tough to have any kind of offense.
Of course, they lost Kennebrew early. That had to hurt. Brooks in motion as Anderson goes back to throw. Gets it out to Brooks. And Brooks is out of bounds by Otis Wilson.
Otis Wilson is still talking to him here. He said to Brooks, well, what are you going to do? That's a big thing. You know, you always ask them when someone's talking, they're going this and that. Yeah, well, what are you going to do? So what?
There is Kennebrew in.
I think Kennebrew now and Ken Anderson is going to be too much too late. You're down 31-7. Say to the coach, what do you want me to do? Win it or tie it?
Kennebrew is close, but it's going to be very close.
It looked like right at the end, the way they're going to spot it, it looked like he got the first down. I don't know how important first downs are here, though. Looked like they had him stopped on the line, and then he made one more little surge. See, he hits in there. Looked like they had him stopped here. But see, they didn't get him going backward. You see, Harris started to go and got chipped off. Then Kennebrew was able to get the ball for a first down beyond that line.
It's just beyond that line. Brooks and Kennebrew then. Brooks comes in motion. Kennebrew stays to block. Incomplete. Singletary on the coverage, and the penalty marker goes down.
Boy, that looked like a late one. That looked like the home crowd talked the official into that one. Because at first they didn't call it. Singletary was on him. And then the crowd started to yell, and then boom, that flag came out.
Number 50, first down.
Maybe the official had it get stuck in his pocket or something, but that was what you call a late flag.
First down.
Let's see if we can see it here. Here's Singletary, 50, right here in the middle of the screen right now. See him covering. He makes the hit there. Looked like the receiver started to fall down. He just tackled him. There was no flag there, and then it comes later. I thought that was pretty good.
Flag was late. That play was out of sync. The man in motion, Stanford Jennings.
74 offense. First down.
And Brian Platos moved early. Still first down, but it'll be first and 15.
Well, you know, they've been blitzing from that side, inside and outside of Platos all day. That's where Otis Wilson has been working. That's where, you know, we saw Dave Duerson come. I think he was trying to get set for picking up a blitz again. See Wilson just outside him. Incomplete.
Anderson intended for Collinsworth. What you were talking about, John.
Well, yeah, we see that they've tried to run the ball 10 times, but they've only gained 22 yards. And in order to pass and to get things deep and to move the ball around, you have to obviously do much better than that. So that's on the Bengal side, but on the Bear defensive side, they've caused that to happen.
When your leading rusher has 11 yards, you're not going to win many games. Here's Anderson back to throw again. Incomplete. Intended for Collinsworth. Knocked down by Mike Richardson.
That was a funny thing. Wilbur Marshall was blitzing on that play. Anthony Munoz is the left tackle of the Bengals, maybe the best tackle in the league, had him kind of up on him, and he just rode him right by Anderson. It was old Marshall. He was taking a ride by Munoz, and he just went both feet off the ground.
Took
right by the quarterback.
A swipe. Yeah. And Anderson. That'll bring up 3rd and 15. Less than 2 minutes left, third quarter. Here's Anderson again. Made the catch, but not with both feet in bounds.
It was still a great catch, though. Chris Collinsworth is probably the most popular of the Bengals. See him there. That's a great catch. I mean, he didn't have the feet in bounds and control, but he still did catch the ball. And when you're down 31-7, you look for anything. In fact, Collinsworth, just getting off the field now, kept the ball.
Hayes to punt. This is a good one. Barnes back at about the 14. Eric Cadis got an arm out, number 84, and tripped him up. And the Bears take over, leading 31-7. Yes, he really is remarkable.
Yeah, he's what linemen are made about. I mean, the type of guy, you get there in the trenches, nose tackles over you, you butt heads all day.
Fuller intended incomplete in the direction of Galt. Clay Pickering, also one of the receivers, down.
I'll tell you, there's a get-up, and that get-up will get more extravagant as the game goes on. He got the headband now outside the towel. He got the thing. Now, he took the shoulder pads off. He likes that because now his arms look bigger. You see, so now he got the water. He'll get he's working up an outfit there that will be outrageous by the time this game is over. I'll guarantee you.
It's not already?
No, it's getting there. He's working on outrageous. He's working on weird. Pretty good weird.
Fuller chased and now comes out of the pocket and throws to Galt. Galt out of bounds for another Bear first down at about the 37-yard line. A gain of 19 to Willie Galt.
Well, they said last night that if they're going to be a real offense, they have to get the ball to Galt. Jim McMahon says we'll get it to him 6 or 7 times. That was his 6th reception today for 145 yards. And this is a way to work speed. In today's football, the dominant offensive player, other than their quarterback, is going to be the speed wide receiver. Now, he's the guy that makes you, when you're a defensive coach, that makes you have some sleepless nights during the week.
Fuller going to put it up again. And it does. The wide open Willie Galt. At the 34, he again goes out of bounds, forced out by Bobby Kemp. Again, that great speed, too.
Yeah, it's that same pattern. In fact, he's talking to the official now about it, something that's happening. But, you see, he starts over on the right side. He's going to come up. Now he's going to come across towards us. He's going to come all the way across the field. Now he can get open there or over here, and he just keeps trying to find a lane. Now he's trying to make a little move. He can't. Little weak straight arm, like that ballet thing we saw he was in.
Right.
Then you step out of bounds. That's called a pirouette or something. Pirouette.
Are you sure?
Pirouette. I don't know.
Whatever. Fuller again. Intended for Galt. Hit by Lewis Phillips.
And they're going to get Phillips on that one now. I think what they're going for is going for the head of Galt. Not hitting him late, but it's hitting him in the head.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 24 defense. First
looked okay to me. I mean, you got to be able to do something. I thought he clubbed him in the head or something. Look at Sam White. He got some sweat going there.
Yes, he does.
I mean, I think he's probably saying the same thing. Hey, you have to let him do something. I agree with that. I don't think that can be a penalty. I mean, he was inbounds. It wasn't late. It wasn't in the head. I don't know what he did wrong. Phillips is still arguing.
Well, they haven't settled anything yet.
They had to go back and find the original line of scrimmage to give him a 15-yard penalty.
Now they put it inside the Bengal 20, all the way down to the 19. That's enough for a Bear first down.
I think that was a bad call. I think the guy thought he saw something and wasn't there.
Well, he was right on the spot. He was right by. Cincinnati's been penalized 10 times for 70 yards. Pickering, the next Bengal in motion for the Bears. Sanders. Still struggling, and Sanders all the way down to about the 1. Bobby Kemp and Carl Sander finally got him down, but it was a task. That's some run there.
Well, I think the one thing, you know, the Bengals wanted to wear out the Bears. It looks like to me that the Bears have worn out the Bengals. You know, they're still picking them off. That defense isn't as fresh. They're not getting across. They're not pursuing as well as they did. There's holes in there that weren't there earlier.
First and goal for the Bears at the Bengal 1-yard line. The Bears already lead 31-7. Going for more. Sanders again. I still haven't seen a single.
No, there is no signal. The Bears are going for a field goal. Mike Ditka was really upset when he set his field goal team in there.
It's got to be a touchdown.
Oh, it is a touchdown. He was upset when he set his extra point team in there. He was going like, the heck with it. He set him in. He set his extra point team in.
There was never any signal that I saw. Butler hits the extra point, but there's a penalty marker down.
Here's a replay of the touchdown. We'll see they're all bunched in there.
On the defensive team. The point is good. We penalized on the kickoff.
Oh, yeah, he got over. He was up there in the air. That ball broke the plane. There's Steve McMichael playing tight end on offense. That's the first time I've seen that. See, the rule is that the ball has to break the plane.
And he did.
So he got the touchdown. I don't know that they really signaled that a lot. The Bengals didn't know it. They got their defense in for the extra point.
Right.
They got him in late. 3 guys ran in late. They ended up with 12. Well, that showed that, what was that, 74% were really for the instant replay in some form. That's the way I feel, too.
Out of the end zone as Butler kicked off from the 40. That's the end of the third quarter with the score of the Bears 38, the Bengals 7.
Butler standing on the flag. Flag. He was trying to hide it. Look, he's out there. He's trying to hide it.
There's another one.
They're probably throwing it on Butler because he was hiding the flag. See, that's the way kickers think. You know, they play a card game. Butler plays, McMahon, Hampton, and those guys. And cheating is okay if you don't get caught. And they play the next thing. So that's the big part of the game, is just you cheat and get away with it. So Butler carried over that, see? And he thought if the guy throws a flag and I stand on it, they won't see it.
Offside. Number 80 on the kicking team. Free kick.
I'm surprised it wasn't Butler that was offside. He thought he could get away with it.
Yeah, but a kicker can't get offsides, can he?
I always wondered about that with the soccer kickers, soccer-style kickers, because their left foot does go in front of the ball.
Yeah, and they let them get away with that, though. That's one thing that they give the soccer-style kickers.
So that rule goes back to what you were talking about. You cheat, you get away with it, it's okay. this one, Pat? McGee. He was down at about the 28-yard line. Dan Raines. Again, that is the end of the third quarter. With the score 38-7 Bears. And we now pause for a word from your local. Anderson at quarterback, going deep for Collinsworth. And he came up with it. Or came down with it. Gary Fensick. A gain of 47.
I'll tell you, Ken Anderson, 16 years in the league. He can still get it out there. And that was a great catch by Collinsworth.
Boy.
I mean, that was all hands. He was slipping. He was down on one leg and just put his hands out there and caught it.
Boy, you look at him without those pads on. It looks like if somebody hit him, he'd break in two.
Yeah,
He's a
there's
tough
not
guy.
a lot to him. He sure is. I think he has good speed. He can run.
Anderson intended, or in the direction of Kennebrew, who can't obviously run that fast now. They have gotten 37 yards on the ground today. That includes a couple of scrambles by Esiason, and their season average has been 160.7.
I'll tell you, that's in baseball, they'd call that a shutout, and it's close to a no-hitter.
Here's Boomer Esiason.
Been a long day for him.
And the man standing to his left, the coach, Sam White. Second and 10 from the 30. Anderson back to throw. Intended for Eddie Brown. Covered by Reggie Phillips. Again.
Yeah, yesterday it was interesting when Ken Anderson brought his son in, Matt. Remember we did the Super Bowl down there in Detroit, and after the game, the 49ers beat the Bengals. And one of the last pictures we had was Ken Anderson carrying his young son off. It was about 4 or 5 then. And now he came to practice yesterday, 11 years old. You think, geez, you've grown in that time.
A little bit. A reverse to Collinsworth, and down he goes. It's Singletary who read things right, and it is.
Hey, that group of linebackers with Otis Wilson in there, Wilbur Marshall, and Mike Singletary, you don't fool them. I think there's a penalty on this play. I don't know that it wasn't a face mask at the end here. Let's watch it. Singletary comes through. I don't know. It looks like he got a hand on that face mask there. That'll be one of those 5-yard kind, I think.
But the flag is way back here.
Face mask.
Yep.
Defense. Third down.
That was one of, they have two kinds of face mask penalties.
Yeah.
One is 5 yards if you don't mean it, and one is 15 yards if you really grab it and try and twist his head around.
Third down and 10 for Cincinnati. They are at the Bear 30, trailing 38-7. Receivers for the Bengals. Anderson back to throw. He's done. Mike Martin was the receiver. Now let's go to Brent Musburger in New York.
Well, Pat, it took a while, but the New York Giants have taken their first lead in the game against the pesky New Orleans Saints. It was Sims to Moat, and the Giants lead for the first time. It is 20-17, fourth quarter. Let's go back to Pat and John.
Well, it's 38-7 here. The Bears in control from the very beginning. Fourth down, and Anderson and the Bengals will go for it. The Bears are coming on a blitz. Wilbur Marshall got there just as Anderson got rid of the ball. Mike Martin, the intended receiver, and the Bears will take over.
I'll tell you one thing, a couple things that I've noticed today about the Bear defense is they're using a lot more of that Bear look, that 46 look. I noticed they're going back more to blitzing a lot, and they're playing a lot more aggressively today than they have thus far this season.
They have changed the name of it, but it's the same thing. They call it the Bear defense now, but it's still the 46.
With the back over on this side, this guard has to take him. The tackle turns out on him, and there's no one to block Wilber Marshall. But the guard blocks his man, tackle blocks his man. Who's going to block 58? The only guy for him is Anderson. Oof.
When you've been around as long as Anderson, and this is an artificial surface field, those can sting a bit. Sanders slips, maybe got a yard. A little engagement going on the other side of the field. Pickering and somebody, Lewis Breeden, they played together here for Cincinnati for 2 years. They're not playing together now.
Well, you know, Pickering had something to say about the Bengals. He said that the problem are the coaches here and so on, and they cut him, and the coaches didn't tell him about it. I mean, the head coach didn't, Sam White didn't, the offensive coordinator did. He said he left here with some hard feelings. I wonder if maybe the Bengals didn't read that and have some hard feelings about Pickering.
2nd and 9. I would not be surprised if that's not a factor. Lou Barnes is split wide to the left and Pickering wide to the right. They give again to Sanders, and he breaks into the secondary. Sanders has got some speed. He's gone. Good night. 75 yards.
The things that they had to open up, that they needed this type of game. Well, they sure got it today. Watch the sweep here. It starts out as an off-tackle play. And I'll tell you, Sanders did a nice job of taking it up to the inside, then finding that soft spot outside, and then running it up the sideline.
Tell you what, he lit the afterburner about right there.
He kicked it in 3rd or 4th or whatever those gears are. I'll tell you, it wasn't supposed to be an outside play. That was an inside play. But Sanders bounced outside.
Sanders 4 carries, 95 yards. Butler was good with the extra point. And it's 44-7. There. Look who's first on the scene. The Sheik. Sanders has 4 carries for 95 yards. 2 touchdowns. Bears have outrushed the Bengals 186 yards to 27. Butler will kick off. Stanford Jennings to about the 22.
Let's watch his touchdown again. Here's the good block, I think. Jim Covert, he gets Browner inside. Then the fullback here, he comes Calvin Thomas. He kicks out Reggie Williams that gives this lane for Sanders to run the touchdown in. Watch the let's tackle. Covert, he'll take Browner to the inside. Now watch the block right there. Boom, the kick out, and there's the hole for Sanders. That's all he needed.
Redskins still leading Seattle 19-13. And Philadelphia winning over the Rams. Steve Largent, by the way, caught 1 pass today I know about. Touchdown pass, and that ties him for the all-time NFL record for games in which he caught a pass. Ties him with Harold Carmichael. 2nd down. Anderson rolls right. Who is popped by Dan Raines. Collinsworth is still down while the rest of them
shoving match.
Well, Dave Remington thought that Raines shouldn't have hit him that hard. Collinsworth hasn't gotten up yet. Raines put the hit on Collinsworth. And then Dave Remington, the center, comes in. Now, here's Collinsworth catching the ball. There's Raines with a hit. That's just a hard hit. Then he rolls him over. He's trying to get the ball. Now, watch, Remington comes, and he grabs Raines by the head. The face man.
Collinsworth really took a hit.
Hey, I think he got, it looks like he has a shoulder there, but I think he got that on the original hit, not on that end thing where Raines was trying to get the ball from him.
Caught 6 passes for 116 yards. He's been just about the only thing that's worked today.
He's the guy that's been the guy that's coming through for this Bengal team for years. Remember the Super Bowl year, he had the big year.
Washington remains unbeaten. Seattle doesn't. The Redskins beat them 19-14.
Yeah, I think the Redskins are one of the best teams in the NFC, and for some reason, they're again kind of the Rodney Dangerfields of the NFL. I mean, everyone talks about the other teams, and you just forget to talk about the Redskins. They really don't get a lot of respect, but they play that solid football.
They really have played solid. Stanford Jennings got the first down. Steve McMichael on the stop. 44-7. The Bears leading. The other side of the field is reasonably happy. The refrigerator.
You know, the fridge hasn't been playing lately. I don't know if they just took him out or if he's hurt or what. You know, in last Monday night's game, he dislocated a kneecap. His kneecap came up his leg.
Right.
And they had to push it back into the joint. I don't know if that's why he's not playing or just the way they're playing defense.
Probably just a rest. The word is that there is nothing wrong with Perry Johnson, the pass receiver, hit by Jim Morrissey. Tell you what, these backup linebackers for the Bears look pretty good too. Morrissey, Rivera. Hi, Mom. Say he got his weight down where they wanted it, and then he went home for 2 weeks.
Yeah, he looks like he's tipping those Toledos around 325, 330. But he knows how to rest. You see him? He's just sitting on that bench and kind of spread out there.
Johnson, the ball carrier. That's the Bengals' longest rush of the day. A gain of 14. Sean Gale made the stop.
Well, we see that Hartenstein is in there now. Mike Hartenstein, he's been playing quite a bit. We see Wachter is in there.
Still McMichael.
Yeah, McMichael, I think he's the guy that forget about. Hampton and McMichael play all the time. The refrigerator's out because he's resting. Richard Dent is out, of course, because he pulled a groin muscle early in that first half.
On first down, Anderson is back. Hit just as he lets it go, and it's picked off by Bestie Jackson. It's Bears ball. They call it back to where the struggle with the receiver took place. That's 5 interceptions by the Bears secondary.
And that's the one I would give to Dan Hampton now. I think Hampton has more to do with that interception than did Bestie.
44-7 with 9:03 left. A tough day on one side of the field and a great day on that side of the field. Bestie Jackson, who just made the interception.
See what he has in his left hand there?
Got that ball with that interception. He took it away, right.
Anytime you're a rookie like that and you get your first interception, and it's in a game, you just keep that ball, and then you write, game ball, Cincinnati, intercepted, and all that stuff.
It's been so long since this contest started. You remember when we started, it was 110 degrees on the field. Yet I haven't seen anyone that came down with what looked like exhaustion or anything like that.
Well, I think that both sidelines have done a good job at that. I mean, I think they've had the ice out there, they've had the towels, they've had the headbands and all those things to keep the players cool. Hampton's had a long day. I'll tell you, he's been the guy that's been out there every play.
Neil Anderson and Calvin Thomas, the two running backs. And they give this to Anderson. Their number 1 draft choice. Had a little problem holding on to the ball today, but I imagine Mike Ditka, in fact, he said, we got to give him some work. He's the kind of guy you don't want to keep on the bench.
Well, it's tough when you have a rookie and he's number 1 draft choice and he's coming in playing his first year, but he missed the training camp.
Right.
And that's when they really learn the basis of the offense. That's when they get all their techniques down, their conditioning, the timing, and so on. And to be fair to Neil Anderson, he missed all that.
Side stopped finally by Joe Kelly, and Thomas is close to a first down.
See, they take Jim Covert out of the offensive line and Mark Bortz, but they keep Jay Hilgenberg in there. Keep the old center in there, just put him in there, and forget about him. In fact, I don't think they have him in there now. I think that may be Larry Rubens. Yeah, they did. They did take the center out. You usually forget about the center. You know, you just leave it in. You take guards and tackles out.
They still got Thayer in there.
Van Horn is still in there.
Right. Kurt Becker is playing now. Thomas again. Getting down after a gain of perhaps 1 by Ron Simpkins. Tell you what, Rubens may be young, but he knows how to get that jersey on, doesn't he?
Yep,
like a center.
Yep, you get it on as tight as you can so they don't have anything to grab. He gets a little help there from the tight end who comes in on a wham block. Finally gets his guy going back a little. He didn't get his feet moving quickly enough, though. You got to hit, boom, and then get those feet going. Whap, 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 like that. Get the whap, whap, whap.
Tomczak is now the quarterback. Pickering in motion. Tomczak gets to Anderson. Anderson around the corner, tripped up by Lewis Phillips. He's got some speed.
And we'll get back there and watch some more of that pit stuff in there. There's Rubens. Now, that time he did pretty good. You see, he got a position block that time. They just worked this guy, hooked him, had him hooked, kept working down the line of scrimmage. Pretty good. You know, that guy that he was blocking is Jim Scow. And last year, he's a rookie. Last year coming out, he was the strongest guy coming out of college, you know, in those tests they do.
There's a penalty on that last play. So they bring Anderson's game back. The Bears will start from their 20, still second down. .6:51 left in the game. Bears have it at their own 30. Pickering wide right. Draw play. They fake the draw play. Pass intended for Tim Reitman coming across the middle, and Tomczak missed him.
You know, talking about Pickering, you know, he was with the Cincinnati Bengals. They waived him. Mike Gick picked him up, and he liked him in training camp. Then they waived him. Then he brought him back. But, you know, he was a basketball player. And he was a great basketball player in high school. Went to the University of Maine. Only played football 1 year. But he was in high school. He was so good in basketball that after his freshman year, they surveyed his house to see what school district he was in, because he had a half and halfer going.
Right.
And then the biggest part of it, that's the school he had to go to.
Forward handoff to Anderson, who can't shake away. Scow again.
But, you know, that has to be a good player. When they come and survey your house, you know, to decide where you go to high school, you have to be a good player. But see, he's a tall, he looks like a basketball player. He's a tall old drink of water. But anyway, way, part of his house was on one side. That's where he went to school.
Penalty is declined.
Which side was his room on?
Fourth down.
Well, they didn't get into that. They didn't get into which side. That's what they should have done. I mean, if he was really good, they would have gotten into, you know, where he spends most of his time.
Well, he didn't spend it in the same place that William Perry did.
Well, he did, but he was in line behind William Perry. He got in the same line. He got in the chow line with Perry. We got there. There was no pieces left, just some bread and water.
McGee back deep. Maury Buford to punt for the Bears. Mike Ditka. Two-yard punt. And the score here in Cincinnati at Riverfront is the Bears 44, the Bengals 7. .6:23 left to play. Doug Gaynor is now the Bengal quarterback for 11. Slips down, gets up, and takes off. Rivera, number 51, and Morrissey. Rivera's 59, beg your pardon.
You remember what Sam White told us yesterday about Doug Gaynor?
Yep.
He said, you know, someday he's going to be a player. He's only a rookie. He said, you won't see him tomorrow. And he said, at least I hope you won't see him tomorrow.
But he did say he has high hopes for him.
He didn't want to use those hopes today.
2nd and 6. Play, Stanford Jennings. Short of the first down. Stopped by Morrissey again.
I think this may be the type of game the Bears needed. You know, people were saying that maybe they need to get beat, you know, to get back into reality. Sometimes it doesn't have to be a negative thing to put you in reality. Something, a positive thing. Be like this. Hey, that's what Fridge is telling Suey there. So he got his arm around him and said, I told you we're good. We're like we were last year. Suey looks a little different this year. Notice that hair?
Yeah.
He dyed it.
That would make you look different. Johnson over the left side. Flags down on the play. Rivera on the stop.
No, Matt Suey started to go gray, and they started to call him the old man. You know, he started to get a little silver thatched. So he had a bet, and he bet that he would, that the bet was with the tight end, Dunsmore, that they cut. He had long hair, and Suey said, if you get a butch haircut, I'll dye my hair. So Suey dyed his hair. See, now there's no white in there. There's no flecks in there. But I'll tell you, with this humidity, man, that dye can go right out of you. Drip down into the towel. You see the towel? See those brown spots? That's from the dye.
You think it's too late for me?
It just... You'd have a longer way to go than he had. I think that's what the Fridge was telling him. He was consoling him about that dye job he had.
Hampton still in there chasing. Stanford Jennings the reception. Finsick knocked him out of bounds. Cleveland beat Detroit. That's the final, 24-21. Giants came back to beat New Orleans 20-17. That's the final. Philadelphia over the Rams 34-20. Fourth quarter. Pittsburgh has gone ahead of Houston 16-13. San Diego 6 and the Los Angeles Raiders nothing in the first.
Everyone asks me, what's wrong with those Raiders? I don't know. I mean, I think that, well, they don't have any wide receivers that are getting open. That's one thing.
Here's Brooks, and there's a flag on the play. Dave Durison came up to stop Brooks. Now helps him up. Penalty against Cincinnati.
I think Cincinnati is one of these teams that, you know, somewhere has to get over the hump.
65 offense. First down.
I think Sam Weisman, I think the whole team felt that they were ready for this game. They needed this game to beat a champion team, to prove that they can be a champion and to prove that they can be a playoff contender and those types of things. I think that this loss has to set them back. When you, I mean, they had, yesterday when we were there, they were very confident.
Yep.
And I had the feeling that they had real high hopes about their performance today. And when you have high hopes and you think you're going to win and you look like this at the end of the day, it can take a lot out of you.
First and 20. Tim McGee made the catch from Gaynor, and Rivera made the stop.
Look at that Bear sideline, Pat. They're all too tired to argue. There's just a couple of them up there. All the other guys are just sitting on the bench. But usually when a quarterback comes over and is that close, they all start arguing. Look at those guys. They got all their stuff in the background. They don't have any energy left to even argue with the official. And I thought, like Mike Ditka there, how he's sweating in that shirt, I thought if you buy expensive clothes, you don't sweat in them.
Well, he did loosen the collar, loosen the tie, too.
Yeah, but I mean, that shirt's soaking wet.
Yeah, I know.
When you spend that much for a shirt, it ought to be sweat-proof.
Johnson from Gaynor. A gain of 5. Bestie Jackson up on the stop again. Philadelphia's first victory of the year. The Rams' first loss. That'll drop them into a tie at least with San Francisco, depending upon what happens to Atlanta.
One thing about that shirt, though, it doesn't wrinkle when you sweat in it. McMahon will do anything for his receivers. You see that? He puts his hand through the hair. He wipes them off with a towel. That's his tight end, Tim Reitman.
Nothing doing. Mike Hartenstein hammers Gaynor to the ground. That's the Bears' 4th sack of the day.
I tell you, Mike Hartenstein is playing as much as he's played in a long time. You know, he's been there for the Bears. He's a 12-year veteran. Been a starter, of course, for most of those years. Didn't play much the last year or two, but they're going to play him a lot, and it's a one game when it's hot and humid.
He and Peyton were drafted the same year, 1 and 2.
You know, they always say perfect weather. You always wonder for who? For big guys, you don't like warm weather.
Hayes gets off a good punt. Barnes watches it go out of bounds at about the 4-yard line. Good kick.
That ball didn't hit the official down there, did it?
It looked like it bounced off his foot.
I know it. He was standing right there on that end line, on the goal line, on the pylon, and it looked like here that the ball hit him.
Not a whole lot of people left in the stands. 44-7.
I think the Bengals are too tired to argue about it. Let's see if we can see it. The ball's coming here. The official's going to be right on the goal line in the corner there. It did hit him, but it hit him out of bounds,
right.
though. When the score is 44-7, they say, who cares?
Right. Just want to get it over with. Anderson still on his feet. Neil Anderson knocked out of bounds at about the 27-yard line by Bussey. But a good run, nevertheless.
I'll tell you, that was a heck of a run. He got hit, bounced to the outside, made a big play out of it.
1:55 left to play. They'll get the 2-minute warning. Bears 44-7 over Cincinnati with 1:55 left to play. Cincinnati's turnovers today, 5, 13 penalties, and 4 sacks allowed. Too many miscues.
Especially when you're playing a world, especially when you're playing anyone. I mean, you could be, if you have that many miscues, there's no way you can win a game. That's right.
Handoff is to Thomas. He tries to get to the outside and can't. No gain.
Yeah, sometimes we look up here, Pat, we forget how warm it still is down there. I mean, it's late in the day. They've been going all day, and it's 92 degrees down there in the field now. So
That's still hot.
yeah, they started out at 110 down to 92, but that's a day's work. You know, some of these big linemen will lose as much as 30 pounds in a game like this.
Disappointed spectator. Ken Vallisari, the Bears, with McMahon. Anderson around the left side. Hooked down by Kiki Deila. 3-yard gain. Gary Fensick.
There's a guy that, you know, we talk about guys that have been playing for a long time. You know, Fensick was in the game 11 years. From Yale, you keep thinking he's just going to play a few years and go into business or something. Here it is, 11 years. Think he'll slow down. He doesn't slow down. But he looks so innocent, doesn't he? You know, I mean, he looks like that guy is a choir boy. I mean, he couldn't hit anyone.
You kidding me?
Well, yeah, but that's how he looks. But that's not how he plays. And he plays like another guy.
Right.
He plays like dirt.
Hand off Anderson. Anderson, left side, running hard. Walter Payton had a rather easy afternoon, and that's going to be it. Boomer Esiason did not have an easy afternoon. 44-7. That's the final. The Bears remain unbeaten, and Cincinnati goes to 2-2. And they have